you're going to keep koi for the first time, I think you need to get some advice online, go on some of the forums, there's plenty out there. Speak to people that have been in the hobby for a while and have made all those mistakes, and try and find a good koi dealer and sort of stick with them. That's the advice I was given to start with. That's all well and good, but you don't necessarily know who's a good or bad dealer, so maybe go to some shows. Don't necessarily go with the koi dealer that's closest to you. It's worth travelling to find somebody decent and try and plan it out. I think certainly don't rush into it. I did, and live to regret that. We made a lot of mistakes here and potentially wasted a lot of money. So yeah, just get some advice online and see who people recommend. The amount of water kept filling up when we dug the hole, and what was another issue we had? I remember the day that the concrete arrived and we were supposed to be barrowing the concrete through and laying the base, and we hadn't shuttered up the sides of the ground, and it all collapsed in. So we all had to jump in and handball all of the soil out in order to finish the base. So I think if you get good advice from a good koi dealer, then they will obviously be able to help you with the build of your pond. We just started building it. I built it with my friends and didn't really have a clue what we were doing. A bit of advice I was given was to, if you are suffering with water coming into the hole that you're digging, if you dig one next to it, deeper, and then put a pump in that, and then you can pump the water away, because obviously we'll go to the lowest point. But quite whether that would work or not, I don't know. It's not something I'd done, but we did genuinely struggle with the water keep filling up in the ground. So you just have to find out, to do with the water table. Things like planning your drainage as well. That was something that we hadn't done. So when you're flushing out your filters, things like that, where's that waste going to go? I know we're looking at moving, and that's one thing I've taken into account with the new house, is where the drains are, so that we can get rid of the waste. And sadly, it looks like the house that we're going for, it's a bit of an issue, so we might have to actually dig a soakaway. But they're all things that you'll need to plan in. So yeah, just plan ahead and make sure that you don't, you know what you're doing ahead of time. High blow air pumps are good. They've just built to last. They're going 24/7 and mine have been fantastic. K1 media is very good. So if you're gonna, certainly from a biological point of view, it's really, really good. And that was something I didn't necessarily understand when I started koi keeping, was the difference obviously between the mechanical and the biological filtration, and K1 has been fantastic, certainly once it's matured. A viewing panel, I'd recommend that people have a viewing panel. It's good all weathers from the house, if you can look into the pond and you can see the fish, so you get to enjoy them even when the weather's bad. What else would I say? Maybe I've got a Nexus 300 which has been really good. The only thing is I wish maybe it was more automated, because obviously having to come out on a weekly basis and clean the filters. Maybe a labour of love to start with, but it's not so much now 5-6 years down the line, so I'll possibly be looking at more automation moving forward. Yeah, also the viewing panel, going back to the viewing panel, I think it's good from a health point of view. So wanting to check the fish are healthy and they've not got any parasites, things like that. A microscope is equally a good thing to invest in. So when you do, if you have to scrape the fish, you can then check what parasite they've got and then get advice on how to treat them. But do think about things like that. As much as you want to try and build a big pond so that the fish have got plenty of volume of water, you need to think about things like medication. So when you do need to treat them, or even a blanket weed treatment, the more volume of water you've got, the more treatment that you'll need. So even just to treat a simple parasite can end up costing you quite a lot of money. So they're all things that you'll need to bear in mind. But a lot of the products now are really good on the market, and again, maybe the forums, things like that, people will give you advice. Okay, so regarding maintenance, I tend to clean my filters certainly through the summer months when the fish are feeding more, so they're obviously producing more waste. I'll clean them like once a week. I tend to think, and I agree with Ricky's opinion, that you'd maybe have one filter bed per bottom drain. Some people like to try and pull from multiple bottom drains through one filter. I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. But yeah, there's not an awful lot of maintenance, but you need to do it on a weekly basis. And there, as I've already mentioned earlier, there are filters out there now that clean automatically, which would be the preferred option. However, I think the potential issue with that is often when I've been out doing cleaning the filters is when I've noticed if there is an issue with something, you get to spot it. If you rely too much on automation, you just leave the pond, and if there is an issue, it's probably when it's too far gone before you'd identify that. But yeah, it's not too bad nowadays. It depends what kind of filters that you go with, really. If you go with the old multi-bay filters with jack matting and stuff, then it's probably a bit worse, but nowadays the modern filters, it's not too bad.